You know Gray Bar for electrical parts. But there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Immediately after pressing the record button, I just coughed in a heinous manner, like right into the microphone. And poor Benjamin Hill and Samuel Dykstra in New York City. I apologize. I'm very unprofessional. I'm gonna cut it out. Like when people are listening to the intro, it's not gonna start with me hacking into the microphone. But I wanted to admit to my unprofessionalism and apologize before the world to you two.
Yeah, you wanted to paint the picture so the audience can feel included, even if they didn't.
Exactly.
You're very inclusive in that way, Tyler, I guess.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still cut this part out, too.
You could also not talk about this, and we could just have a normal episode.
The amount of times that I've opened the show by just discussing something completely needlessly about what happened before we started recording the show.
Yeah, thank you for changing the pronoun on that, because it's always a you thing and not a...
Shut up, Sam. Hey, welcome into this week's episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, the official podcast of minor league baseball. My name is Tyler Mon, Sam Dykstra and Benjamin Hill in New York City. We actually did have a lot of fun right before we started recording. We just were sharing random stories of our time with MiLB.com. And then kind of storyboarding like, oh, wouldn't this be a fun episode if we just shared random stories of our time with MiLB.com? So be on the lookout for that, because I think we might do that over the off season as the minor league baseball off season has arrived. What's the vibe around the office these days, gents?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're in a weird time now because the office, we work around MLB.com now. So much of the focus is on the MLB postseason. We're through that. I mean, for anybody who's following the last few weeks of minor league postseason, the Norfolk Tides defeated the Oklahoma City Dodgers in the AAA National Championship last week in Las Vegas. So the minor league season is over. But for us, at least, some of us, we pivot immediately to the Arizona Fall League, and that's something we'll talk about later, Tyler, you and I. The rosters were out last week. Opening day for the Fall League was on Monday. So on one side, you're focusing so much on the MLB postseason, and on the other side, there's still prospects playing baseball every night, 3 games a day, in the Valley of the Sun down there in Arizona. So that's a lot of where my focus is. Ben, you are the Phillies fan on this podcast. We are talking here on Thursday. Phillies wrapped up their wild card round pretty easily. Last night, how does it feel?
4 sweeps in 4 wild card series.
There's no game 3.
No game 3.
No game 3 to be found.
Yeah, kind of weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the expected result, but in a way that made me more nervous about it, because what is sports if not full of unexpected results? But those were 2 fun games to watch. I've always found October to be a kind of profoundly weird month, given what my job is, because like Sam said, we work in an office that's very fixated on the postseason now for good reason. Sam and others of his ilk, I just like the word ilk, they shift right into the AFL. For me, October is the slowest month for anything related to the sort of, quote unquote business and culture that I cover, because teams have just ended the season. There's really not much news coming out. But one of the many benefits of my road trips is that I still have a lot of material. So as opposed to this feeling of there's nothing going on, what do I write about? Which is a familiar feeling from earlier years of my career. I got plenty of material from my road trips, and I used to feel really stressed about it. I have to be done everything by November, or by my birthday. That was always my goal, by November 6th, because it just gets less and less relevant. And now I'm a little more casual about that. I feel what's the problem with having material during a slow time, especially if it's not super specific, to any certain event or timeliness. So I just kind of, let it flow and get the material out there. But I do think without the rhythm of the season, promos, and just games going on all over minor league baseball, me having gotten back from a road trip or looking forward to one, I do find it kind of motivationally a strange month because I'm like, I still have all this material and I need to get it out, but there isn't that kind of built-in pulse and energy of the season. And then weirdly, a lot of my focus in my life especially when the Phillies are in it, becomes, following baseball in a way that I, as a fan instead of as a professional. And it's a kind of a strange dynamic or counterbalance going on there.
I think the takeaway there is Ben gets very unprofessional during Phillies games.
Yes, I mean,
just revealing your
that.
Philly Fanatics tattoo that is on your stomach at every.
It's life size. I mean, not just a stomach. It's like just below, like where that button, the top button is on Ben's shirt right now. That's where the Fanatic starts, and it goes all the way down.
Bryson Stott hits a grand slam, and it's just immediately
he just rips it open. Yeah,
incredible Hulk. And you're right, Tyler. It is life size because my stomach is as big as the Fanatic.
Man, I know that game. That's why I have Dinger, the Colorado Rockies Triceratops. That's how big mine is. It's great. I love being in my late 30s. It's terrific.
Yeah. Mascot size stomachs for all.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. Well, gents, it is a fun time of year for baseball fans all across the landscape. And we're gonna dive in and talk about a lot of fun stuff on this week's episode of the show. Before we do that, you can get in touch with us, podcast at MiLB.com. I feel like we haven't gotten like a good listener question in a little while. Send us something fun, something interesting, something, dig up an old team that you want Josh Jackson to do a Ghost of the Minor segment on, or an old player or something. I'm just going to assign all of this to Josh. Send us an email that Josh can work on. He's never inundated with stuff. But seriously, get in touch, podcast at MiLB.com. And let's do it. Let's kick it off, boys. The Minor League Baseball Awards are in the books. Our very own Benjamin Hill. How often do you get stopped on the street now? Like, are you Ben Hill from the MiLB Awards Show on MLB Network?
That has happened in my life, not since I've done this award show appearance outside the ballpark on a handful of occasions, but usually when I get recognized, it's inside a ballpark, which makes a lot more sense. But anytime it happens outside of a ballpark, it has like 10 times the value of an in-ballpark recognition. I'm like, whoa, I can't believe someone just recognized me. Because I prefer total anonymity in my day-to-day life. And I start to feel how, celebrities feels, like the Taylor Swifts and Beyoncés of the world. And it is
someday it's gonna be a 3-artist show, and it'll be Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Benjamin Hill. That'll be it. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I am too. I mean, it's only a matter of time. But yeah, I mean, on a personal level, that was it was a kind of career milestone for me. I've been on TV and the MLB Network, local news broadcasts, and I've done remote hits on the MLB Network. But this was my first in-studio television appearance of any kind. So that was interesting. I did 2 segments. One wasn't part of the awards proper, but I just highlighted 5 interesting food items from around the minor leagues, just as a palate cleanser, if you will, during the awards themselves. And also presented the alternate identity category, because every award show needs a little contextualization of the nominees. And I think probably no other category in the MiLB Awards, the Minor League Baseball Awards, maybe needed more contextualization for the casual fan than alternate identities, because there's stories behind them. So it was kind of a nerve-wracking experience. I did it all in one take, and you're just going bam, 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 trying to explain, Amarillo calf fries, exploding whales, Hartford bouncing pickles, Hickory Dickory docks, Hoosier State tenderloins, Hudson Valley cider donuts, Norfolk lumpia, and Springfield cashew chickens. And if you watched the award show or saw our corresponding coverage that came out in the wake of it, you know that the winner of alternate identity was, no drum roll here.
It was a ballsy choice.
It was a ballsy choice. It was the Amarillo calf fries. And yes, that did present some difficulties for me presenting the category. I mean, the team's own press release, the Amarillo Sod Poodles, when they announced this alternate identity, did not announce what a calf fry actually
I forgot
is.
about that. We had like a 10-minute conversation on the podcast about like, well, what is this? It's not pointed out in the press release, and we were uncovering it.
Yeah, so it was a strange thing. And, just going alphabetically, I started with that one, and it was just kind of something along the lines of, a cowboy delicacy, also known as Rocky Mountain oysters. If you know, that kind of thing. And then I did 2 takes for that segment. And in the second one, I just ended with, the Sod Poodles played as the Calf Fries 7 times this season, so fans had plenty of opportunity to have a ball. And hey, snuck it past the censors.
The FCC has been meaning to contact you about that.
That is nuts.
When it got thrown back to that was nuts. Yeah. When the segment went back to Matt Vasgersian, Matt Vasgersian was hosting the awards. He said something along the lines of like, that segment had more double entendres than a episode of Three's Company. And I was like, that's what I always aim for. In live
right in our demographic.
Yeah. And
the
then when
perfect dude to be hosting, by the way, Matt Vasgersian.
He's great. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Did a great job. And he has, he spent a lot of time in the minor leagues, working his way up the broadcasting ranks. So he has a real knowledge of and appreciation for the minors. So he was a truly good host. Not some mercenary, he was in there. He understands the minors and he likes it. And then when the Calf Fries won, he was standing in the dugout, the studio dugout, next to a jersey of it. And he's like, okay, we've backed right up to the edge of what is okay here. So in a way I like all this just because it's a good reminder that minor league baseball still has the capacity to be right on the edge of what is okay. And really that's what I've tried to focus on so often in my professional career in terms of the kind of things I cover. And, that can be difficult sometimes, finding things that toe the line in the right way. And, it's a little bit more of a conservative promotional environment over the last couple seasons, but it's still minor league baseball. And there's still a lot of goofiness going out there. And I think alternate identity as a category really highlighted it well for a mass audience. I haven't seen the ratings, but I mean, I think it got beat out by Sunday Night Football, but every other, I think it was number 2 in the ratings. Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably got,
I don't think there could be a better
share.
Ad. Yeah, there you go. I don't think there could be a better ad for Google than the Calf Fries. Because like everybody, whenever people talk about it, like, oh, just Google it on your own personal device.
That's a good point.
You'll find out what it is. Like they should make an ad out of that because everybody is talking around it. They don't want to say what it is. So go look it up on your own. Google's like different than it used to be, but still.
I still say Bing it or Ask Jeeves it.
Sure.
Is that weird? Is that weird?
Does Ask Jeeves still exist?
I don't think so. I don't think Ask Jeeves
like
exists.
Ask.com. They fired Jeeves.
Yeah, Jeeves. I know. What is he going to do now? Yeah. He's got to go be a butler somewhere.
Yeah, they dug up some of his old tweets.
Turns out Jeeves had a lot of issues. Jeeves he's a rough one. Okay, a lot of other minor league baseball awards handed out. Some of them with winners that I'd say are not that surprising because we have had some incredible performances this year in minor league baseball. Let's start minor league baseball hitter of the year. Big shocker here. Jackson Holliday takes that award. Sam, Ben, these are such a good opportunity for us to recognize somebody's full body of work for a minor league season. It's not necessarily always just prospect focused or just, the biggest names that but in some cases it is. And Jackson Holliday, who has been such a revelation this year, obviously gets his due credit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just breeze through these real quick because I know we talked a lot about who the nominees were leading into the show. So the winners, hitting prospect of the year was Jackson Holliday, as Tyler said. Guy got on base everywhere he played, was the number 1 overall pick last year, climbed 4 levels, was on that Norfolk team by the end of the season. And even after a slow start with Norfolk, ended up still being above league average for AAA, which is insane for a guy playing in his age 19 season. Pitching prospect of the year was Drew Thorpe of the New York Yankees system, somebody who spent most of the year between high A and double A. One of the best pitchers, at least statistically, this year. There's a reason why we picked it. I want to hammer home the idea that this is hitting prospect and pitching prospect. It isn't necessarily just the best performers in the minors. We did bake in some prospecty goodness. That's what we call it into this. But Drew Thorpe just got onto the top 100, led the minors with 182 strikeouts between high A and double A in that Yankee system. Really, really good changeup. That's why he was chosen for that. Breakout prospect of the year, Junior Caminero, who got a few at-bats for the Rays during their wild card run. Fortunately, didn't work out for them. His season is over. But another guy playing his age 19 season, hit 30-plus home runs, got to AA, skipped over AAA, got to the majors. He's now our number 6 overall prospect after opening the year outside the top 100. I think when we update things again, you could see him creep up a little bit more just because the guy absolutely pounds the ball. The MiLB debut of the year went to Ethan Salas of the San Diego Padres. And by debut, we don't mean like their first game. We mean somebody who had not played in the minors before this season, made their debut in the minors and became a bigger name. That's definitely Ethan Salas, somebody who was signed last January by the San Diego Padres, skipped over the complexes completely, opened up at single A, ended the year at double A. Some rough numbers there, but a really, really solid catching prospect in all aspects of the game. He's now our number 5 overall prospect. That's why we thought he had the best debut of the year, because he beat expectations to get to Lake Elsinore in the first place and then continued to do that as the summer went along. Also, team of the year went to the Norfolk Tides, one of the most accomplished teams of the season at any level, but the fact that their season ended with not only an international league title, but also the AAA national title, as I mentioned earlier, in Las Vegas, was the perfect ending for, a AAA team in an Orioles system that is seeing a lot of success this year at the major league level. Of course, they're still waiting to begin their ALDS run on Saturday. But because they have so much talent in that system, a lot of it got backed up to AAA, and the Tides reaped the rewards of that. And they were really good from beginning of the season all the way to the end. You think about the talent that was on that team. Colton Cowser was a standout in the championship game. Connor Norby was one of their best players all season long. And guess what? You get to add the number 1 overall prospect in the game in Jackson Holliday by the end. So thankfully, they won that game, but I think they would have been team of the year regardless if they had won the AAA national title or not. But it was a super ending to the season for the Tide. So those were our major winners. We also had an all prospect team, both first and second team, that was released during the MiLB Awards Show. Some other fun stuff. You can actually go back and watch that entire stream, watch Ben's segment. I tweeted out a few days ago, but you can if you just search MiLB Awards Show, the entire thing is on MLB.com. So I highly recommend people check that out and see some of the best highlights of the year. We have best home run, we have best defensive play. And it's just super fun to see all this stuff kind of coalesce, and it's a great way of celebrating all that was minor league baseball in 2023.
Yeah, please watch it. I have a lot of anxiety and self-loathing with, seeing myself on TV, and I didn't watch myself for days, and I just needed enough positive feedback over several days to bring myself to watch it. And then I was like, oh, this is not bad. So now the pendulum is swung in the direction of self-loving instead of self-loathing, and it'll swing back again. But it's
what does
really
that feel like?
yeah, you wouldn't know, Tyler.
I don't think I've ever been there. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. But it is a funny psychological process, and I do hope to do more, in studio television appearances, and I'm feeling better about it now. But man, it did a number on me just with my own self-perceptions and just that feeling of like, oh, this sucks. No one wants to see me. And now I'm like, I've always been the greatest of all time. But it's a back and forth. And what gets me about Jackson Holliday is that his dad, Matt Holliday, is younger than I am, and he's Jackson's dad, like the top hitting prospect in all of baseball.
Top prospect period in all of baseball. Yeah.
I mean, my son is 2.5 and he likes fire trucks and hitting me in the face. And it's just like,
to be fair, I like those things also. Matt Holliday was like, he was like my last favorite player in my life before I worked in sports. Matt Holliday made his major league debut, I believe, in 2005 with the Rockies. He might have gotten like a cup of coffee in 2004, but I was in love with Matt Holliday for the entirety of his career. He should have won the 2007 National League MVP. He got ripped off. And just like a dude who I loved forever. And then seeing not only Jackson Holliday, but Ethan Holliday, who is a rising young star as well. I saw Ethan Holliday as part of the United States national team at the U15 Baseball World Cup last year. That's not Matt Holliday is supposed to be like 27 and like crushing opposite field homers at Coors Field. That's not okay. I remember seeing Jackson Holliday when the Rockies signed Troy Tulowitzki to a lengthy contract extension in 2008. I remember Jackson Holliday at like 3 years old wandering into the press conference room while he was getting ready to leave with his dad and just yelling out in the middle of Troy Tulowitzki's comments, just yelling out, "Bye, Tulo," as an adorable 3-year-old kid. And now he's like, he's the next big thing.
I mean, that is one thing Jackson talked about after winning the award is like it did help him being around those clubhouses.
I bet.
He played in 4 different ones.
Yep.
This summer, and that's not counting getting an invite to Major League Spring Training to begin the year. I mean, he shows up and everywhere he goes, he is not old enough there's that famous story of he got to Norfolk, they were on the road, and the hotel had to ask him for ID because they didn't think he was allowed to have a hotel room.
Because he does look like he's about 12.
Yeah, he does look very young, but he's been around the game for so long, nothing really phases him. He's seen stuff in clubhouses. He's been in those environments. He can just roll into any clubhouse, and that probably includes the major leagues, by the way, and not be concerned and not be overwhelmed. So when you can do that, that allows you to be really good at every level. There isn't that level of adjustment that guys talk about all the time. You're so used to it. It feels like nepotism in some way, but the talent is there. I mean, we've seen it. The numbers are there now. This is not just, hey, he's Matt's son. Isn't that cool? Yeah. That gets him on the radar. It's more than that.
Yeah, this isn't broadcasting. You got to prove yourself instead of being somebody's son. Sam and Ben and Josh, by the way, for the 9th straight year, voted as the top minor league baseball hosts / contributors on a podcast. So big congratulations to you 3. Still trying to crack that group, but I'm hoping at some point the voters will see what we've all done as a collective unit, and I'll get in there as well. But I'm really happy for you guys. I don't go to bed every night crying, holding my Josh Jackson Goes to the Minors commemorative plushie. I don't do that, despite what people
see. I didn't get a plushie this year, so you already have a one up on me. There you go.
Yeah, you gotta get the talking Josh doll. That's the best.
It is the best one. It wags its finger.
Welcome and it just speaks at random times too. It just interrupts,
Yeah, there's no string. It
just exactly. It's so bizarre. Okay,
I'll come back. Damn it, Ben, Josh, it's 12:30 in the morning.
Let's continue discussing things from the season. You went to Louisville. You still get the opportunity to kind of tease out the remainder of your trips. And one thing that is very cool at this stage of the year, I would imagine for you, is you sort of get to go back through, all right, I went here and here and here. What are things that I haven't gotten a chance to write about and cover yet that I want to? Louisville, we're still getting the opportunity to hear about. That's one of the real great stops on the minor league baseball map, a former major league city, a history chock full of baseball in that city. Tell us about what else you got coming from Louisville.
Yeah. Well, still a couple standalone feature stories to come, but it's featured in my newsletter, the Ben's Biz Beat, which landed in my own inbox just about an hour ago. And please subscribe to that if you aren't already. There'll be a corresponding MiLB.com article on Friday, the day this podcast comes out. I hadn't been to Louisville Slugger Field in 9 years, so definitely overdue for a visit. And it was just a great evening. It was a Friday night in September. That would have been September 8th. And, I was a little, not concerned, but, these AAA teams that have to go deep into September, I was a little concerned about the post-Labor Day crowds, maybe that there wouldn't be like a great energy at the ballpark, but they had a great crowd. It was a beautiful night. And I was just reminded what a beautiful ballpark that is. I had the distinction this season, unintentionally, of going to both minor league ballparks featuring a portion of the structure that is a converted train shed. The first was Montgomery Riverwalk Stadium, where the Biscuits play, and Louisville. So there's this stately brick exterior, very much in the architectural style of the neighborhood, because this front entrance area, existed well before the ballpark opened in 2000. There's a warehouse and a train shed. And so they incorporated it into the ballpark itself. So it's a great place to enter. You enter into essentially this massive foyer with a huge, tall ceiling, well lit. And then from there, you go, through security and onto the concourse itself. So it's a memorable way to enter the ballpark, and a great use of incorporating the existing architecture. And, the team just, ballpark costs being what they are these days, you could never, or not never, but it'd be really hard to create something like that when you're building from scratch. But when you can incorporate existing architecture, sometimes you have a little more creativity and ability to create things like that. So, I've been there before, but it was a long time. And, so it wasn't my first impression, but it was my first impression of this visit. And I just reminded, what a beautiful ballpark it is, inside and out. And they've done a lot of improvements in recent years. One of those cases, a pandemic silver lining, and that they were able to do a lot of renovations during the season that wasn't in 2020 and get that done quicker. removed the bleachers, added a berm area, expanded kids zone, some new bar areas in the outfield. So there's just a lot of room to move around, and just a really great place to see a game. And the backdrop, I'd kind of forgotten about that. The Ohio River is behind the ballpark, not too far away, and there's 3 or 4 bridges that you can see from behind the ballpark, including one that is a pedestrian bridge to Indiana. And it just made me wish that I'd had the time to walk to Indiana and see what's over there in Indiana.
I will say the town across one of the bridges over there in Indiana is called New Albany, and it is awesome. There's like this very cool little main street. The only time that I've ever been to the Louisville area, I stayed in New Albany. We did a friend's trip, and it's awesome. But it was like January, so I didn't get a chance to check out a Bats game or anything like that. Did go to the Louisville Slugger Museum, but I didn't check it out. But if you do get that opportunity, it's a cool spot.
Right. I mean, it's Louisville. It's Louisville Slugger Field.
Louisville.
And, that naming rights deal, which makes a lot of sense, is because obviously Louisville Slugger and their factory museum is just, it's on the same street. It's on Main Street in Louisville. So you could, have a great baseball day in the city by going to the museum and then walking to the game and hit up a distillery or two along the way if you're so inclined. There were actually signs, on like the street lamps that said Louisville is the birthplace of bourbonism. So
that is an ideology I can get behind.
Yeah, bourbonism, birthplace of bourbonism.
Yeah,
before the Louisville Bats played at Louisville Slugger Field, they were in Cardinal Stadium, which had a capacity in the 30,000. So it was interesting learning about that ballpark a little bit. They have a picture in like the kind of main entranceway area of the largest crowd at Cardinal Stadium, 33,687 for a minor league baseball game in 1983. And you know why? It was 50-cent hot dog night. And just hearing some stories about that ballpark as well. It's pretty run down. Various animals lived on the premises. It just was a whole different era. And I'd like to maybe jump into that a little bit more as well. And then, of course, the food. This was described to me as the filet mignon of Louisville Slugger Field is their fried bologna sandwich. I remember that from the last time I visited, but that is one of the most popular food items, fried bologna in Louisville. So my designated eater, Greg Hotop, he had one of those. He was actually my designated eater 9 years ago in Indianapolis. So one of the rare 2-time designated eaters. And also in one of the new outfield bar areas, the food served out of it is from a local restaurant called Four Pegs, and they had some barbecue offerings. And one of the things they had was called a Grand Slam. It cost $25, and it was like pulled pork, brisket, and chicken, and French fries, and pickles, all on a roll, which seemed a little redundant because it's not like you could pick this up and eat it like a sandwich. So $25 is a lot for a concession item, but you could definitely share it with a friend or two. And that was another memorable aspect. The Superstars were there. Always good to run into them. I've known the Superstar characters. I mean, not just the characters on the field, but the the people behind them. If you're not familiar with Superstars, inflatable mascots with kind of punning names on sports superstars like Ken Giraffe Jr. and that nature. But they are Louisville based. Their founder, Dom Latkovsky, was actually Billy Bird at Cardinal Stadium in Louisville and spun off being a minor league baseball mascot in Louisville into this touring company with several acts, and the Superstars are active on the circuit all year round. So this is a hometown show for them. It was good to see them. And last thing I'll mention, just because it's totally random, is that, I sat in the on deck club for an inning, and those are one of those premier seating areas, where you're closer to the batter than the pitcher is. It's a really cool place to see a game. And they had a little bar, food, beverage area down the tunnel inside behind the seating area. And they had this machine that was like a Keurig machine, but for cocktails. So you just had like pure alcohol in like containers, and then you'd put in like a Keurig-like packet to make the specific cocktail. Yeah.
Wow.
Bartesian. So they had rum breeze, mango margarita, old fashioned, and lemon drop cocktails. So you just put this little cocktail packet into the machine, like a Keurig, and then hit a button, and out comes your cocktail.
That's
Pretty
amazing.
strange.
I had not heard of that.
So I've always enjoyed that kind of thing during these ballpark visits, just seeing something where I'm
Boozing.
like, I've never seen that before. And yeah, a Keurig-like cocktail maker was definitely one of them. And keep an eye out for it at a ballpark near you, probably in the luxury seats area. I don't know
I
if
might
that's
just buy one for the house.
Yeah, why not?
Sounds all right, actually.
Yeah, pop in a mango margarita pod at the end of a long
You both gave me looks like, are you okay? Why would you need to own
No,
that?
I'm just more concerned that we're giving them a lot of free pub and that we're not.
They should be
aiming for a
sending us one.
sponsorship.
I'm going to
Yes.
beep out the name until they send us one. That's what
Yeah.
Every week we're going to talk about it.
Yeah,
until
exactly.
they
We'll talk about this delightful product, but if they're not sending us any, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So all of that up and coming from Benjamin Hill. Ben's also got a really cool story about a baseballer with an interestingly spelled / pronounced last name. That's not the part of the story that's interesting, but Caleb Bosley. Ben, a cool story that you got.
Yeah, I talked to him in Nashville. He has been with the Sounds for the last 2 years. He just turned 30 years old, drafted in the 33rd round by the San Diego Padres, then was selected by the Milwaukee Brewers because it was the minor league portion of the Rule 5 draft. And that was an interesting move because he's from Wisconsin, grew up a Brewers fan. So if you follow the world of Major League Baseball, you might have seen that Caleb got called up on the last Friday of the regular season, pitched 2 1/3 innings in relief and won the game. And he had like 400 friends and family there. So I had to rewrite my story because I spoke with him in Nashville, earlier in the month, and just kind of did a story on how he was the community player of the year, how he was just a popular guy at the ballpark, does a lot of community appearances, interacts with fans, has kind of a humble, self-deprecating nature, and seems to make the most of being a guy who, is in AAA and doing well, but, 30 years old and not being explicitly a prospect. So to write that up and then have to rewrite it, no one wants to rewrite a story, but pretty good reason that he got called up and played in Milwaukee and got the win to cap his second season with the Nashville Sounds. And I'll be rooting for him going forward. And I'll have a story on him coming soon. Caleb Bosley. Pronounced Bosley, but spelled BoushleY, which is probably why everyone calls him Boz. It helps drive home the point that it's Bosley, not BoushleY or whatever it may be. He said, through the family lineage, there's alternate pronunciations, but he just goes by Bosley. So yeah, it's another article coming up. I still got quite a bit in the can for these lean times in October and November. So it never ends for me. It just slows down.
It is the legend of Ben Hill for a reason. You can find Ben, of course, on the social medias at Ben's Biz and the Ben's Biz. And that's it. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Sam.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Huge thanks to our pal Benjamin Hill, as always. And we're going to talk about the Arizona Fall League, which is underway now in the Grand Canyon State. And Sam is actually headed there soon. Gonna eat delicious Mexican food and get a tan and must be rough to be Sam Dykstra.
I mean, listen,
That's
you
my
know
assessment.
me as Autumn Man.
I do. That is true. I feel like this has got to be torturous for you that you're going somewhere that has no fall.
A little bit.
That's a good point.
But no, it's a true. I love going to the AFL. It's baseball heaven in many ways because
It really
there's
is.
3 games happening a day. Sometimes I'm covering 2 games in one day. Every game feels like a minor league all-star game. So it's like guys you've been hearing about all year, all on the same field. I'm going starting this Sunday, so I'll be there for 2 weeks. I'm picking up the baton from Jim Callis, who has been there for a week for us for MLB Pipeline. Jesse Borick, Jesus Cano have been down there. they'll be down there all 6 weeks. They live down there. And Kelsey Hennigan's been checking in with social stuff, and Jonathan Mayo will be there after me. So we have wall-to-wall Arizona Fall League coverage, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, getting down there for 2 weeks, it's so much fun. It is a different autumn than I am used to, but I told all the trees to stay green until I'm back, and then you can all change at once.
Well, we'll see.
They don't always listen. The trees,
I was going to say, we'll see how much pull you have with the natural world, Sam. But the Arizona Fall League dawning upon us, and we are, as we do, I think every year, I think we've done this every year, we're going to draft our AFL dream teams. There are 6 squads in the Arizona Fall League. We're going to boil those down to 2, and they're going to play a best of 51 series over the next few weeks, just to to placate the desires of kingmakers Sam Dykstra and Tyler Maughan. That's how it works in the prospect world in minor league baseball now. That's not at all true. But let's discuss the format. We always do snake drafts. I always trust Sam that he's going to use like the random generator to figure out which of us gets the first pick, even though I don't get to see it. But I will say, I think he's a pretty honest man, because I've had the first pick time and time again, it feels like.
Well, that is true. Honestly, Tyler, I was going to let you do it this time.
Wow.
2023 is a new year. You're a married man now.
I am.
It's time for you to take some leadership in your own home. And
I am. What day is this? This is Thursday. I'm 5 days into being a married man now. Holy
yeah, and
smokes.
I'm giving you responsibilities, just like your wife.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't even know what I do here. Random group generator.
I think Google has like a coin flip if you want to do a coin flip situation.
That's right. Google coin flip. That's easy. All right, Sam. What are you picking? You going heads or tails?
I'm a tails man, so let's go
tails man. All right, here we go. Flip. And tails it is. Damn it.
Yeah, there we go. See?
Fine, Sam.
You're the honest man this year, Tyler. Good on you.
I have to be. All right, let's go. So you take pick 1, I take pick 2 and 3. You're 4 and 5. I'm 6 and 6.
Yada, 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 yada.
You all get it. You've all done a fantasy sports draft.
Yeah. So my first pick, the Arizona Fall League is known as a hitter's league. It is played in a dry climate, a little bit at elevation. And also because of the nature of the league, it's much easier for guys to make up at bats. The hitters usually have less of a limit on themselves. So you see hitters take advantage of pitchers. That being said, when a really, really good pitcher gets to go to the Fall League, it can be all the more special. We have a couple of them this year. We'll get into some of them, I'm sure, later. But I'm going to make the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, a pitcher. I'm going with Jackson Jobe.
Wow.
Of the Detroit Tigers.
Not what I suggested there. Or not what
you suggested. You're not in my draft.
Not what I
room.
Suggested. Not what I expected.
So Jackson Jobe, Detroit Tigers. I think he's got a claim right now as one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. He is a top 100 guy. If we were to update the list now, I think he would jump 15 to 20 spots. Started out the year with a back injury. Has kind of remade himself as a pitcher during that time. He was talking to Jim Callis about this the other day. He made his debut, 4 strong innings from that. But because he missed the time with the back injury, he was forced to focus on some other stuff, some approach stuff. And we're seeing it. I mean, he did not walk a batter, I think, in his last 5 starts during the regular season between High A West Michigan and Double A Erie. He's got a slider that consistently goes above 3,000 RPMs. It's going to be one of the best pitches in Major League Baseball by the time he gets there. He added a cutter this year. He's consistently around 96, 97 miles an hour with the fastball. All the pieces are there. He just needs the health, and he got that in the second half. He was really productive. Now he's going to the Fall League to make up for some extra innings. I would love to see him pitch throughout the Fall League. We'll see how that goes. Maybe the Tigers at some point are just going to call it and say, hey, listen, you did enough. We just wanted to get you back out there. I would love to see him pitch all 6 weeks because it's really, really special stuff. And the more looks we can get at Jackson Jobe, the better. So I am making him my first pick, and I am locking down my right-handed pitcher.
Wow. Yeah, again, not who I expected first off the big board. I'm going to go with the traditional draft model. I'm going to fill the premier positions first. And my first overall pick, I got to go with the guy after my own heart. It is Great Britain national team catcher Harry Ford, whose full name is Harrison Ford. Harry Ford played for Great Britain in the World Baseball Classic. He just got done helping to lead Great Britain to a second place finish at the European Championships this week, actually. Of course, his father, British, living in London, Harry Ford, now really, I mean, pretty well entrenched as a member of that team, but even more so for our purposes, is one of the best prospects in all of baseball. He is one of the top prospects, not only in his system, but among catching prospects, the third ranked overall catching prospect in baseball and the second ranked prospect in the Seattle Mariners organization. Harry Ford, the thing that I love most about Harry Ford is, aside from just the tools that are there, the success that he's had already, he played this year at high A with the Everett Aqua Sox, OPS of 840, hit 15 homers, walked 103 times against 109 strikeouts. So there's a lot of good plate discipline there. 24 stolen bases also as a catcher. But Harry Ford, character-wise, everybody loves him. He does community work. He helps out with kids. He's just a good dude. That's the type of guy we like on this squad, Sam. So I'm going Harry Ford first. I'm locking down my catcher. And then I'm going to go over to the next premier position, and I am going to take. You ready, Sam? Are you ready? Are you nervous as to who I'm going to take?
I'm a little nervous.
Colson Montgomery of the Chicago White
right.
Sox, my shortstop. I did debate between Colson Montgomery and Carson Williams. Both those guys, you really can't go wrong with either of those dudes as your shortstop. Colson Montgomery is our 5th ranked overall shortstop prospect in baseball. Carson Williams, the Tampa Bay Rays, he's number 7. Both of these dudes were 2021 draft selections. Carson Williams was gone at the 28th pick. Colson Montgomery at the 22nd pick. But I really like what each of those guys did this season. Colson Montgomery climbed. He played 10 games at the rookie ball level, then 17 with high A Winston-Salem, then 37 to finish the year with Birmingham. Not a full season of work, obviously, which is part of the reason why he is headed to the Arizona Fall League. But, a really, really, really high ceiling, very talented player. And not only that, but if let's say we finish this whole thing and through games 1 through 50, we're split at 25-25. And then like a rare fall rainstorm comes through, we got to move everything indoors, pick up basketball game to determine the championship. He's got a saucy jumper. I'm thinking ahead, Sam. Colson Montgomery is the all-time scoring leader in his basketball career at Southridge High School in Huntingburg, Indiana. And you're welcome.
I mean, sure. If it comes down to that.
Aside from his baseball, saucy jumper.
Well, that makes me think I might have to take AJ Vukovic at some point because he almost went to college for basketball, and I think it was Mr. Wisconsin or Mr. Basketball in Wisconsin. I can't remember how that worked.
Colson Montgomery, by the way, 939 OPS between his 3 levels this year in 64.
Yeah, Colson Montgomery, the comp we get a lot is Corey Seager.
Yeah, right.
And look at who Corey Seager is now. I mean, he's going to finish top 5 in AL MVP voting, if not top 3. So
with an MVP already under his belt, leading a team, potentially toward its first World Series title. We will see. But those are my dudes: Harry Ford, Colson Montgomery.
Those are 2 very good picks, and I think 2 very Tyler picks in that you stuck to the big board in getting Colson Montgomery. He had to go in the first 2 rounds.
I felt a little sarcasm there. 2 very Tyler picks. What does that mean?
No,
Sam?
I mean that in parentheses complimentary. I mean, you got the international
2 very
guy.
Tyler picks. Nothing creative here. He's going chalk all the way. Thanks, Sam. Just because I put 4 number 1 seeds in my Final 4 bracket every year, I don't know what you're saying. I don't do that. I don't fill out.
All right, fine. All right. Well, you took the shortstop, and I feel like the smart money would be to avoid taking shortstop next, right? Because you're already spoken for. But the DH position concerns me here, and that could be filled at any time. And so I want to make sure you don't get this guy. I'm going to go with Carson Williams as my next pick out of the Tampa Bay Rays system. And I'm actually happy to get him at shortstop because I think one of the best things he does is play shortstop. He's a really gifted defender at short, won the MiLB Gold Glove Award last year in his first full season because of the work he puts in at short. Good range, really strong arm. But the best thing about him is he's really well rounded as well. He's a above average runner. He's got a lot of power. You look at him on the field, you think, okay, this guy might be a light hitter, but he's got a really uphill swing. It really works well for him. He does strike out a lot. I think all the other pieces are there. He is like a 4-tool player right now, which sounds like a lot, but then you think, well, there's 5 tools. Like what does that mean? And I think that's been a big area of focus for him this season, was at least keeping the strikeouts in check. They're going to come. He struck out around 30% of the time everywhere he's played so far. If that's what it is, then that's fine. You live with everything else. He's going to be a guy who, like, WAR will shine on really well because he does all the aspects of the game strong in a strong manner. But can he keep the strikeouts in check? That's going to be something we're going to monitor here in the fall league. But I will take somebody who is at least a 55 grade in all the 4 other tools on my roster. So I'm going with Carson Williams at my shortstop position and my second pick. Now for my third pick, because again, we are snaking here. I'm gonna take the pitcher again.
Wow.
We're leaning into pitching. We're going pitching and defense, apparently. I'm going Ricky Tiedemann,
man,
as my left-handed pitcher. And listen, there are 2 guys who was really excited to see in the fall league this year. One was Jackson Jobe. The other was Ricky Tiedemann, another top 100 prospect, one of the most talented left-handed pitching prospects in the game. His changeup is really special. I've gotten some people putting 70 grades on the changeup. He can show velocity. He can show a really good slider. He's tried to work on the slider to make that a more consistent pitch, but the 3 pitches are there for him to be really dominant. Now, he had a biceps issue that caused him to miss a bunch of starts this year. The Blue Jays were pretty passive in bringing him along because they didn't want to ruin him. They know how high the ceiling can be. And talking to some folks with the Blue Jays, I think he wanted to get out there. He's a very competitive guy. He wanted to pitch like he did last year, but they were like, we're not messing this up. We're not going to get you screwed over because you want to pitch 6 innings in July. Like, we're going to keep the reins in on you to get you to be a potential major league ace someday. So now he's in the fall league. Now he's making up for some of those lost innings. He's doing it in a really competitive environment. I'm going to be fascinated to see how it goes. He had a strong start the other night. I think he started on Tuesday. It was a nice surprise. His family was there. He was not expecting them. So it was pretty cool for him to pitch in front of his family. And he talked about how much that means to him. But yeah, getting Jackson Jobe and Ricky Tiedemann in my rotation, insofar as we have a rotation for this thing, is pretty big. So I'm going to take another top 100 arm.
Man. All right. So your pitchers are spoken for. So I get to hold off on pitching until my last couple of picks. So I got to load up on bats, baby, because now we're facing the top 2 pitchers in our on our draft big board. So man, this is tricky. Well, I know my first pick of these back-to-backs is going to be, and I'm going for, you have Jackson Jobe. I have another Detroit Tigers prospect with JJ as his initials, and that is Jace Young, who I will be taking with my third selection, the younger brother, of course, of Josh Young, who we're now watching in the Major League playoffs as a member of the Texas Rangers. Jace hoping to be the next generation that helps to lead his team into the postseason. The pop is there, everything's there. He's a dude. He is a dude.
The only thing I'll ask about Jace Young, where are you playing him at second or third? Because
that's my debate here. Because okay, please continue.
Well, so he played second base
right
during the regular season,
right,
and won, I think, best defensive second baseman in the Midwest League. Got called up to Double-A year. Like you said, the power is there, and he talked about this with Jim Callis on the MLB Pipeline podcast this week. He was sent to the fall league essentially to work on third base.
Right.
They want to slide him over there and just see how it looks.
Yeah.
And see if he can stick there. So I think for the purposes of this draft, you can put him at either spot, but it comes down to draft strategy. Where do you want him, Tyler?
Do I have to pick right now?
I would say pick something now. If you want to slide him over later, you can.
Okay. Then for right now, let's put him at third. For right now, We're going to put him at third. Yeah. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm doing. There's somebody listening who's like, no, you got to play him at second. My next pick, I have not yet drafted an outfielder, so I'm going to go to the outfield next. And I think I'm going to grab. Oh, man, see, this is tricky because there are two dudes who there are a lot of guys who I really like in this spot, but I don't know if I want to go with this is, oh man, I gotta think this through. I think, Samuel, that I'm going to go with the dude who has already proven a bit more than the other one. And that is Kevin Alcantara, who I am going to take out of the Chicago Cubs organization. 3 levels this year, 284, 345, 465, his slash line. Kevin Alcantara put a little bit of pop on the board. He hit 12 homers this year in 95 games at AA at high A rather with South Bend. Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm going with Kevin Alcantara. Whatever happened to Arizmendi Alcantara? I remember he was in
That's a
Japan
good
for a
question.
little while. Is he still in Japan? Let's see.
That is a good question.
He is. Well, we'll figure that out.
Yeah,
I don't need to be
back on.
I don't need to be
Arizmendi
live
Alcantara.
Googling this. But a former top 100 prospect from the Cubs organization. And yes, he is still over there with the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters.
Okay, well, there you go. This has
So
been
there we
your
go.
Arizmendi Alcantara update, which will now be a weekly segment, depending on as updates warrant.
Headed to the Nippon Professional Baseball playoffs. Let's check in on Arizmendi. Okay. Anyway, please, you're up.
Well, I think one thing we should note so far is that everybody we've taken has been a top 100 prospect, which shouldn't be a shock.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this internally over at MLB Pipeline, that this isn't the most loaded Arizona Fall League that there's ever been by any stretch of the imagination, but there are some good prospects here. So we want to make sure that they're taken, but all right. So you filled an outfield spot. I'm going to fill an outfield spot. I'm actually going to go, I'll talk about these guys in tandem. I'm going to go back-to-back Cleveland picks. I am going to go with Chase DeLauter. Not that it matters who I take first, but I'm going to go Chase DeLauter at first base or at outfield. And now I'm tipping my hand on who I'm going next. And then I'm going to go Kyle Manzardo.
Okay.
At first base. Chase DeLauter dealt with some foot injuries this year. Really kept him from playing, and that was unfortunate. When he did play, he was very, very productive in the Guardians system. Played at both high A and AA, some mixed, also rehabbed a little bit in the Arizona Complex League, but finished the year with a 355 average in 57 games, had 5 homers, 22 doubles, stole 6 bags, walked 23 times, struck out only 30. When he was taken last year in the draft, out of James Madison, the Guardians took him 16th overall. You looked at him, you're like, everything here, kind of similar to what I was saying with Carson Williams, everything here is like 55 or 60. It might not be a 70. He doesn't have an 80 on the board, but like he can run really well. He can throw. He can hit the ball really well as he proved this year when healthy. I think the biggest thing against him right now, at least in his pro career, is just he needs to get on the field. Now he's doing that in the fall league. So he's ranked number 85 right now. Would not be surprised if he jumps several spots, so long as he stays healthy in the fall league and is as productive there as he was at both high and AA. I think we could see Chase DeLauter take a pretty big jump. Kyle Manzardo was acquired by the Guardians at the trade deadline this year for Aaron Savali. It was a 1-for-1 swap. I kind of loved it at the time. Savali, the Rays got as a starting pitcher that they could have for a long time. They gave up Manzardo, who is stuck at first base defensively. But I think when it's on, he can hit for average. He can hit for power. He was showing that down the stretch late with AAA Columbus. He was battling some injuries of his own this year. But so often we talk about the fall league as being kind of the graduate school of prospectum. It's your opportunity to prove. For some, it's like it's an opportunity to prove you deserve a spot on the 40-man before Rule 5 eligibility. And for others, like Manzardo, he's probably heading into next spring trying to work for a major league spot. Got a little bit of time in the Guardian system after the trade, but this is, I don't want to say a first impression, but certainly a second impression in this system. And we'll see how he wins guys over. But usually protects the plate pretty well. like I said, has shown an improved ability to hit for power in the second half once he got healthy again. I'm excited to see what Kyle Manzardo can do. So I got back-to-back Cleveland guys for me, first DeLauder and then Manzardo.
Okay. I think I am also going to snag my first baseman, and I'm going to go to the Arizona Diamondbacks organization and the former Texas Longhorn, Ivan Melendez, who was a Golden Spikes Award winner at UT in his fourth year junior season. Really good grades, really good numbers. Now, granted, this year through a couple of teams, one stop was for 38 games at Amarillo, which of course we know is a launching pad, but even prior to that, at Hillsboro, he was showing the pop. He combined to hit 30 homers this year between those two stops in 96 games. So I really like him. And I'm gonna take a swing, man, on my next pick. I think I'm going with it. I'm gambling on my dude, Robert Hassel III. I know it was not an easy year. I know last year did not end easily for Robert Hassel III. Didn't put up great numbers this season in his second season with the Washington Nationals organization, but he's recovering from a hamate bone injury last year, which kept him out of the Arizona Fall League. He's back there this year. He's still... Crazy thing is just 22 years old. So Robert Hassel III has all kinds of time to get it figured out. I remember watching him as a youth player on an exceedingly talented, I believe I saw Robert Hassel on a U15 national team and just like was already impressed with him back then. May have also seen him at U18s. I think I saw him at U18s in 2019. But the talent is there. Let's see if he can get it put back together. So I'm going Robert Hassel.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he was a top 100 guy. Like the bat is there. You mentioned the hamate bone injury.
Yeah,
he thinks he did better in the second half. I didn't quite see it in the numbers.
Yeah,
but hamate, like it takes a year.
Yeah,
to recover from that.
It does.
And for somebody who was already kind of struggling to hit for power, I remember doing an interview with him, and he's like, "Listen, I have a whole bucket of balls that are home run balls. Like I can do it."
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, well, we want to see it, and maybe this is his coming out party. He had the hamate bone injury last year in the fall league. I think he only played 2 games in the fall league before it ended quickly. So he's chomping at the bit to get back there and prove himself in a Washington system that is loaded with outfielders. So this is a big opportunity for him. I would love to see him take advantage. I am going to stick in the outfield myself and take one of my favorite players that is going to the fall league. That is Victor Scott II.
Okay.
Who, Tyler, I don't know if
big
you
couple
heard
of picks
this.
For guys with initials, the second and the third.
The second and the third. The fact
names.
that the third went before the second is
what is the term for
that?
that? What's the term for that? It's not a suffix.
I'm going to say it's a numerated name, but I don't know that.
I like that. Let's go with that.
I may have just invented a term. Victor Scott II, breakout season for him this year. He's now up to the number 4 ranking in the Cardinals system. I do the Cardinals rankings. So I'm the one who put him there after getting some feedback from around the organization, and everybody came back with like, Scott is the one who has to make a huge jump. You look at his numbers this year, he tied for the minor league lead with 94 stolen bases. He actually finished the year with 95 and had one taken away because of a ruling. Which was unfortunate. So he tied Chandler Simpson, who's actually a good friend of his. Those two guys go ways back. They played summer ball together. They both grew up in the Atlanta area. So they knew each other, and they talked about this themselves on the Pipeline podcast about, they would be texting each other. They always knew the other one couldn't get the upper hand. So they were keeping tabs on that. It was one of the most exciting races in minor league baseball this year. Victor Scott, an easy 80 grade runner. I think he's a plus fielder as well. He shows really good range to the gaps. It's one thing to have great straight line speed, but his instincts are really good as well. And his, reactions off the bat are really good. So he's going to be my center fielder for sure. The bat is, I think, better than a lot of people expected it coming into pro ball. He finished the year with a 303 average and a 794 OPS between high A and double A. Had better numbers at double A than high A, although the Texas League is more of a hitter-friendly league than it's ever been, I think, right now, in part because of what Tyler was saying with those games at Amarillo. But getting him as a potential leadoff guy for me, letting him burn around the bases, that's pretty big. So I like taking Victor Scott II there with my next pick. And the next one I'm going to have is one of the players I'm most fascinated by we talked about Victor Scott being a breakout prospect this
Dang
year.
it. I think you're going to steal a guy from me. I'm getting a feeling.
Ooh, I'm interested to see if you have this guy, Graham Pauley.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, it was not the guy that I was thinking of, but okay.
Graham Pauley, who plays a little bit of everywhere. He's played some third base. He's played some second base. I think his debut in the fall league the other day was in the outfield. This guy was not on anybody's radar, really, last year. He was a 13th round pick out of Duke in 2022. Started out this year at single A Lake Elsinore, finished it at double A San Antonio. Now we know the Padres got super aggressive with all their guys, but he hit above 300 at every stop. His slugging numbers got better outside of the California League. How often do we hear about that?
Yeah.
Especially a college guy. You would expect him to slug in the Cal League and for it to go down from there. He slugged 629 in 45 games with high A Fort Wayne, got called up to double A San Antonio at the end of the year, slugged 556 with the San Antonio Missions. I think he's really athletic as a fielder. That's why they've been moving him around between third base and second base and some outfield. It's because they want his bat in the lineup, but the glove plays pretty well everywhere as well. So that's fascinating. He was a 2020 guy, 23 homers, 22 stolen bases. I don't necessarily think he's much better than average speed, but he's showing aggressiveness in this age where stolen bases are there to be had. So that's huge. I'm fascinated to see what this guy does. The Padres sent a lot of really good bats, Nathan Martorella, Jacob Marcy. Maybe we'll talk about those guys later as draft picks, but I'm fascinated to see what Graham Pauley is going to be. So I am going to take him as my second baseman. I'm putting him down there for now, kind of in a similar spot to you, Tyler. I might move him around as needs warrant later, but for now, he is my second baseman.
Okay. I'm going to take my second baseman and then my maybe surprise guy, and they come from the same organization. For my second baseman, I'm going to snag the newly minted Detroit Tigers prospect, Hao-Yu Lee, who I have loved since I got a chance to watch him on the international stage with, he's from Taiwan. He starred in some pre-professional World Cups in his career. I've really liked Hao-Yu Lee's game for a long time, and I know we talked about him when he first got into the Philly system. He was traded to the Tigers as part of the Michael Lorenzen deal this year. So I'm going to go with Hao-Yu Lee at second base, which means I can leave Jace Young over at third base. And the other guy who I am going to grab is a guy who I don't think a lot of people know about, and a guy who I'm not sure we know what to make of yet. And one of the best names in all of minor league baseball, by the way, Justice Bigbie. Who I'm going to take. Justice Bigbie, similarly to, you're talking about Graham Pauley a moment ago, another guy who was not a high draft selection at all, and this year put together a season that makes you go, whoa, wait a minute, hold up, who's this? 19th round pick in 2021. This year, between three stops, he batted 343, 405, 537. That includes 63 games at Double A Erie, in which he hit 362 with a 985 OPS, 13 doubles, 12 homers. Now, granted, he jumped up to AAA at the end of the season. The numbers did take a dip. 15 games there, hit 275, a 737 OPS. The kind of weird thing is, like, you look at Justice Bigbie, and in any other scope of the measure of a human being's life, you think like, oh, he's so young. He is on kind of the developmental track of what you would have thought for a ball player 5-10 years ago. He's 24 years old at AAA. That's normal. Although nowadays we look at guys and you think like they're older than 22 at AAA, and you're like, I don't know, does this guy have it? But Justice Bigbie, he seems like he's got the whole package. Now, as you continue to climb the minor leagues, you get toward the major leagues, we see a lot of guys who get to this level and they fall off. But this is, I think, a very good showcase stop for Justice Bigbie to see what he can do against elite level competition on a regular basis. So I'm getting a very Tigers heavy team here, which I'm kind of digging.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good time to get a bunch of Tigers. I will say that. Justice Bigbie reminds me of the ascent of Kerry Carpenter.
Okay. Yeah.
And Tigers fans should be pretty excited about that. Kerry Carpenter hit 20 homers this year for the major league team, was one of their bright spots. Obviously they didn't get to where they wanted to be. I think a lot of people thought they were going to turn a corner this year, but Kerry Carpenter, I remember a year ago, it was his age 24 season, and he kind of broke out with some swing plane changes, made the major leagues. Now he's a regular contributor for them. Everybody was trying to figure out who he was. So if they're following that path with Justice Bigbie, that could be huge for the Tigers. They could use as many development wins as they can get their hands on. So when I was going through Graham Pauly, I'm guessing that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And when you said Graham Pauly, I was thinking, oh, that's the other guy who would fit all of these descriptors too.
Yes.
By the way,
Yeah,
a public tomato throwing for the first headline writer who, if Justice Bigbie gets to the big leagues and like wins a game with a walk-off homer, the first headline writer who uses justice is served, you're out. You're done. No. Sorry, I'm already
just not allowing it.
I'm already thinking of bad puns for a guy's career in the future. I'm sure he's dealt with it already. Anyway, you're up.
Anyway, right. All right. Well, I think this is the last top 100 guy on the board left. And yes, he is. So I'm going to grab him here. I'm going to put him at catcher. I'm reserving the opportunity to move him to DH. And that is Kevin Parada of the New York Mets. Somebody who was a really, really good hitter at Georgia Tech a year ago, made him one of the best prospects in the 2022 draft. The Mets come in and swoop and select him along with Jet Williams. So they got 2 top 100 guys in the first round last year. That was pretty special. This year, the defense hasn't quite got there yet for me to think that he's going to be a full-time catcher. Now, the Mets have gone through this before with Francisco Alvarez. Francisco Alvarez was much younger and had a longer developmental path, and now he's in the major leagues. Kevin Parada can still show plus power, but, playing most of the year in Brooklyn, which is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and then moving to Double-A Binghamton, excuse me, which he was challenged by. I don't think he quite got going the way a lot of people would have hoped this year. He would have. I still think there's the potential in the bat for him to be really good. And he just has to be an average catcher to be of value to the Mets or whoever else gets him. Let's see, there might come a day where him and Alvarez are knocking against each other and they have to figure out playing time and one of them gets shipped out. I think it's more likely to be Parada. But for now, he's still a Mets prospect and a pretty good one so long as the bat comes around and meets its ceiling, which is pretty high. So I'm going to take him at catcher for my next pick, but I might move him to DH depending on who is still available by the time I need a DH. So I still have 1 outfield spot remaining and 1 third base spot remaining. I am going to go with my third baseman, which is going to be Zach DeCenzo of the Houston Astros system. Now, he was another breakout guy, kind of similar to Pauly, kind of similar to Justice Bigbie this year, was a 12th round pick in 2022. The exit velocities that this guy shows are really, really special. This year, he hit 407 in 31 games at High A Asheville. Asheville is another hitter-friendly place. Slugged 628 there. Got the bump to Double A Corpus Christi, 257, 339, 486 in that environment. Finished the year with 18 homers and 22 stolen bases. Don't look too much into the stolen bases. I think that's just a guy being aggressive when there are opportunities. It's definitely a power-first profile for him. The defense is a little shaky, but I think in the AFL, we could see this guy really flourish. And if he takes those exit velocities to the desert, he's going to pop in a big way. So hit the ball hard is a really good way to pick up hits. And I think it's in there for Zach DeCenzo. So he's going to be my third baseman.
Okay. All right. I have my designated hitter and my 2 pitcher spots to fill. And for my designated hitter, I am going to go with one of my favorite names to say in baseball, and that is Abimelec Ortiz, who I'm going to be taking out of the Texas Rangers organization. Ortiz this year, between a couple of stops, one at Down East and one at Hickory, slugged a combined 619 with a 990 OPS and homered 33 times. He hit 26 of those home runs with Hickory and 80 games with the Crawdads. I really like him. I like him as a bat, and I'm going to go with him. I'm trying to, my pitchers. Obviously, I don't want these guys to feel like, hey, we left you to the last 2 picks. I want them to know you were always our guys to begin with. That's what I want them to know. It just so happened that Sam went out there and he made his big picks and he was all, we're going to be the best and brightest. And we're, look at our galaxy brain. We're taking a pitcher first overall. I'm just throwing out slights at you, Sam. I want to make sure.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the
these
point of
guys
drafting.
know that these guys know Yeah, exactly. That's the point. I want them to be fired up about how much better off our team is. I'm going with Tekoa Roby from the St. Louis Cardinals organization, who's got some very good stuff. Put together some pretty good numbers this year. 14 combined starts between Frisco and Springfield, formerly a member of the Texas Rangers organization, who was moved to St. Louis, part of that Jordan Montgomery deal. Got better after the trade, it seemed like. Now, granted, small sample size, but before the trade, 46 and a third innings, he had given up 49 hits and 5 homers in total, an ERA of 5.05 with Frisco. 4 starts after the deal with Springfield, didn't record a decision, but the ERA dropped to 3 even, only gave up 6 hits in 12 innings. I don't know how much we can glean from that, obviously, but the numbers did improve. So I'm going to go with Roby as my right-handed pitcher.
Yeah, Tyler, do you want to just take your left-handed pitcher now? I mean,
yeah, might as well.
Just finish off that way.
I know and there are a lot of guys who I feel like we could have the conversation as to who among this group of lefties is best, because I don't think there's a lot that separates them. I think they're all very good in similar at a similar level. I think that I'm going to go with DJ Herds, who is now in the Washington Nationals organization, made 8 starts at AA Harrisburg to end the year after starting the year in the Cubs system. 53 strikeouts and 35 and a third innings for DJ after he moved to the Nationals organization. So I'm going to go with DJ, and he's going to round things out on this squad. The Mon Mashers, because we took pitchers with our last 2 picks.
That's a good one. We'll have to come up with maybe next week we'll create our own Arizona Fall League identities. I actually like that idea a lot.
I like it.
We're gonna pocket that for next week. DJ Herz, an incredible changeup. So that's gonna be his kind of go-to pitch, something to keep an eye on. I find it interesting. This is more just speaking to this year's AFL class than anything about Tyler's draft strategy. But both of your guys for pitchers were traded mid-season.
Exactly. So they can handle change.
They can handle change. They can handle new environments. They've been through that before. And I think in both cases, those were guys that were sought out by the organizations that acquired them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right.
More than being,
throw in pieces
extra.
The completed deal. Yeah.
Exactly. So just an interesting trend on that end. So I have an outfielder left and a designated hitter. Let's see, what do I want to take? It doesn't really matter which I take first, I suppose. My designated hitter, just because I find this fascinating that he is in the AFL, I am going with Reggie Crawford of the San Francisco Giants system. Now, you might know Reggie Crawford as a left-handed pitcher. He was somebody drafted out of the University of Connecticut with the 30th overall pick in 2022. It was one of the most fascinating picks in that draft because he had Tommy John surgery, played both ways with the Huskies, and then got to play this year, in the Giants system, was kind of coming along a little bit as he was recovering from that Tommy John. They have sent him to the Fall League, I think exclusively to play I don't want to say the field because he's going to be DHing. So I guess that makes this all the more apt that I am taking him at DH. But they are just letting him get at bats. This is essentially the Shohei Ohtani effect that we're seeing trickle down. It doesn't always work. Shohei Ohtani is a one of one. And I'm not saying Reggie Crawford is Ohtani by any means. Some of you might be yelling into your podcast devices, whatever happened to Brendan McKay. Brendan McKay had his own injury issues and was somebody who really proved he could not hit at the upper levels of the minors, looked like more of a pitcher eventually. And, unfortunately has gone through some injuries, has not returned to the Rays major league roster. So it's difficult to say like, oh, there are going to be more two-way guys because it's so difficult. But the Giants want to give Reggie Crawford a shot. Letting him DH in the Fall League, I think, is going to be an interesting experiment. He has the power to make it happen. It's just how is the approach going to go? But he's going to get enough at bats to be really interesting there. And he's a fascinating guy to talk to. When I talked to Jonathan Mayo about like how was it going through interviews, he said, just hope that Reggie Crawford shows out every time you're there so you can talk to him about it afterwards, because the guy's fascinating, really understands what he's trying to do up there. So I'm going to take him at DH. And my last outfield spot, I already took a San Diego Padre, but I'm going to go back to that well again for my last outfield spot and go with Jacob Marcy, another guy who was taken in the 2022 draft, 6th rounder last year. More of an approach guy than a power guy. He had a 413 OBP between high A and double A this year. Walked more than he struck out, 98 walks, 97 strikeouts, stole 46 bags, 16 homers. So there's a little bit of pop in there as well. Kind of average across the board. But again, when your best tool is your hit tool, you're going to find a way to play. You're going to get in the lineup in some way. So I already have Victor Scott as my leadoff guy. I kind of envision Jacob Marcy as the number 9 guy, and that's not a slight. That's more as like, let's get him at the bottom of the lineup so he's on base for our big boppers that are coming up behind him in Carson Williams, in Kyle Manzardo, in Kevin Parada. So the lineup construction is working out pretty well too. So my last 2 picks of the 2023 AFL draft are Jacob Marcy and Reggie Crawford, both out of the NL West.
I like it. I feel like we got some good squads assembled. We always do. We always have good.
We always do. It's the fall league. Like,
yeah,
even
it's
in
impossible not to.
Yeah. It's just the way this stuff goes. Like there are some good guys that we left unselected too.
Yeah.
You know, Jacob Berry had a great night the other night. Really difficult first full year for him in the Marlins system. Looking into some of the quotes, he thinks he figured some stuff out. He was playing injured part of the time. You know, we'll see how things come around. Gavin Cross, another first-round pick from 2022, not selected here after a difficult season, missed a lot of time with an illness. He's healthy now. He's playing again. He pushed the envelope with a stolen base the other night, trying to get that speed to play. His power was at its best, was probably his best tool this season, so we'll see how that works. Cooper Jerpy, a first or a high pick from 2022 as well.
He was the other one I
considered
for my last pick.
You also could have gone with Jake
pick.
Eater.
Yeah, could have gone with Jake
was
Eater.
One of the best left-handed pitching prospects in the game before he underwent Tommy John surgery. Was traded from the Marlins to the White Sox in the Jake Berger deal. So you know that's fascinating to see how he's going to come along after the surgery and now in a new system with some different philosophies on how that works. But
it is very funny, by the way, that an Eater was traded for a Berger.
I know. Yeah, you want to talk about banning people for headlines? There were a lot of good ones out there. I'll put it that way. Ryan Bliss was another guy who I was kind of hoping one of us would take, but just the format didn't quite work out that way. Another guy who was traded this season from Arizona to Seattle. I really liked what he was doing in the Arizona system before that trade. He only stands 5'6", but had 23 homers and 55 stolen bases this year.
Just as a final point on some of these deals, what the Paul Sewald thing, I'm still like, we're months removed from it. I'm still like, what? You're in the hunt. You're trying to win this division. You're trying to make it to win a postseason series for the first time in 22 years. You're the Seattle Mariners, and Jerry DiPoto's one deadline move was let's move our closer. What?
Yeah, I mean, you look at what he got back. Like Dominic Canzone did play games. He's a potential everyday guy. Ryan Bliss is a potential. Yes, I get that. But I think we need to go back to a time where we look at the humanity of some moves. Like if you're in that clubhouse,
I think that's true too.
You were trying to get back to the postseason, which the Mariners had not done in a very long time.
Right. The Mariners had the longest playoff drought in major American professional sports before last year. They go to Toronto. They win the 2 games there. They get the 1 playoff game at home in Seattle. This year, our season preview episode, I picked the Mariners to win the World Series. I thought they had finally gotten it figured out. Julio has arrived. They've got some studs. They've got more pitching on the way. I thought the Mariners were going to make a very deep run, if not make it to the World Series. They are the only major league franchise to never make a World Series. And Jerry DiPoto trades his closer at the deadline. That's his one deal. And yeah, again, like the return was fine, but the return was something you expect for like, okay, this is a 75 to 79 win team they're looking toward next year. They were right in the hunt and they were playing so well at that point as well. July was when they started turning things around. And then all of a sudden it's just like, we're done with beloved closer Paul Sewald, who everybody loves up here. Baffling.
Yeah. And you look at where I'm not going to go back game by game and see like where Sewald would have won them a game. But,
right.
You know, they finished 88-74. The Blue Jays finished 89-73 and get the wild card spot. So
Yeah.
Anyway, not to dredge up, D-backs Mariners trade intricacies, but I'm still we're just still 3 months later. I'm still baffled by that.
Yeah, I would love to see the game kind of turn a corner. I think we're at a time now where certain teams were like, hey, we're going to sell if it makes sense on a return. And maybe teams are going to start learning like, hey, let's just go for it. If we have the talent here, let's add to the talent.
Let's do it. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
It's very strange. Okay, so my team looks like this. I got Harry Ford behind the plate. Around the infield for my squad, I've got Ivan Melendez at first base, Hao Yu Lee at second, Jace Young over at third, Colson Montgomery at short. Man, that is a very American League Central heavy infield with the exception of Melendez. Kevin Alcantara in the outfield along with Robert Hassel the third and Justice Bigby. DJ Hertz, my left-handed pitcher, Tekoa Roby, my right-handed pitcher, and Abimelech Ortiz is my designated hitter. Sam, let's hear it.
Yeah, so behind the plate, I did end up sticking with Kevin Parada of the New York Mets, going around the horn on the infield. Kyle Manzardo at first, Graham Pauley at second, Zach DeZenzo at third, Carson Williams at short. My three outfielders are Chase DeLauder, Victor Scott II, and Jacob Marcy. My pitching staff, insofar as a two-man staff can be a pitching staff, is Ricky Tiedemann and Jackson Jobe. And then at the DH spot will be Reggie Crawford. Kind of a secret weapon. Maybe we might ask him to throw an inning here or there. But this was really fun to put together. I always get worried that I'm going to run out of picks, and then I remember it's the Arizona Fall League. You can never go wrong with any of this stuff. We left a lot of good guys on the board. We took a lot of good guys, but in the end, of course, my team is better. So I'm so sorry, Tyler, for the seventh straight year you have lost the Arizona Fall League draft. That's a pity. Get them next year.
Wow. The Dykstra Dealers against the Mon Mashers or something like that.
Okay. Dealers in pitching, not trading after we go through this whole.
You never know. Are you hiring Jerry DiPoto? He's traded us multiple times, as we have joked.
Yes,
the years.
Of course. Right.
All right. We're going to step aside for a timeout. Josh Jackson will explain why there is no Ghost of the Miners this week. And then we're back to wrap up the show on the other side.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
There will be no Ghost of the Miners this week as Tyler Munn got married in Denver and I traveled west on a three-wheeled jalopy.
Saying goodbye on this week's episode of the Show Before the Show podcast. I'm headed to the mountains tomorrow with my wife. And while we're there, we'll be watching a little bit of playoff baseball. But you can catch some of the Arizona Fall League. Keep it locked on MLB.com. All kinds of talent, of course, getting the AFL season underway. That's it. I don't really have anything else. That's it.
No, I mean, yeah, that's basically, I mean, it's great to have the Fall League right now.
Yeah.
Because there was no game 3 in the wild card round for anybody.
Exactly.
So the only show in town on Thursday was the Arizona Fall League.
Right.
There's going to be games on Friday. Same deal. The only game in town is to watch some AFL. So if you are a fan who is chomping at the bit to see your team compete in the DS and you have to wait until Saturday, tune into the AFL. Check in on your prospects.
Check in on your prospects. So that'll do it. Huge thanks to Benjamin Hill, Josh Jackson, and for Sam Dykstra. My name is Tyler Mon. We will catch you next week.